We started with AI, and now we have cameras inside like our wall oven. Everybody asks, will it cook for you? Well, yes, now it will truly cook for you. It will say, hey, I see you're cooking chicken. Here's all the recipes we have for chicken. What kind of chicken would you like to cook? And then it'll tell you, please take out the carrots, and we're going to preheat for X amount of time. Put it on this rack. And so it truly does cook for you.
Welcome to day 3 of Builder Innovator Summit. Excited for this session. We've got some pretty interesting information, some things that I learned about in putting this presentation together with these two fine gentlemen up here with me. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, show you their smiling faces if you can't see them sitting next to me. You want to start with you, Mike, and tell me about yourself and your business a little bit?
Sure, absolutely. So my name is Michael Brown. I'm the Director of Product Development for Woodside Homes. So Woodside is part of the Spexi house family of companies. Specific to our company, we are headquartered in Salt Lake City, Utah. We have divisions in Idaho, Utah, Nevada, Arizona, and then we have 3 divisions covering the state of California.
Sean Hodge. I am the Director of Sales for LG Appliances Pro Builder Division. LG Pro Builder is relatively new to the Builder Division. LG is not new to the Appliance Division. They're at the #1 retail brand. I tell the builders that as when homeowners have a chance to choose, they choose LG. But the Builder Division is 2 years old into the Pro Builder side of the business. And we have a product line that fits all categories with LG Studio, and Signature Kitchen Suites, which is our high-end product line.
Well, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to talk about not just smart appliances, which is something that I've actually spoken about a few times in parts of sessions. We're talking about smart cooking and everything that sort of comprises smart cooking. So, Sean, can you sort of explain to me what that means to you?
You know, I think when you talk about smart cooking, like in major appliances, we're talking about connected ovens, refrigerators, dishwashers. What that means is not only connected app-based stuff, but we're also talking being able to connect to recipes, connecting to the web. We're talking about small appliances, air fryers, coffee makers, information technology, bringing recipes and platforms, bringing your healthy cooking into appliances, audio visual, your smart displays, your voice assistants, your kitchen entertainment. It's not one product, it's a system, and it's a coordinated experience.
So, Mike, what are you seeing in your projects, in your homes that you're constructing and designing with this stuff?
Yeah, there's definitely an interest level for, you call it smart appliances, connected appliances, both in the major and the small appliances. As far as kind of the motivation behind that, let's take ovens, for example. We're finding that it's kind of the top areas are fairly consistent. It's, 20% use the ability to monitor the product, 20% use the ability to check on the timer, 20% use the ability to use the smart cooking function, where it can connect to that recipe and help them, facilitate the outcome that they're after. So it is kind of an interesting space to be in right now, an interesting area within the home. So
one of the big areas that we also see is the service diagnostic piece of it.
Yeah.
And the comfortability. So you're now seeing that safety side of it, being able to get on an app and call a service call if you want to, or self-diagnosis, or see the energy levels that you're currently using in it. So those are cool things that you can now use with your app and your appliances.
So as someone who came from the sort of audio and video industry and the smart home industry, one of the biggest things we've been talking about from the beginning, is how do we train our customers on how to use these products and how to detect when there's an issue and how to overcome that issue and who to call. Is this creating a new level of complexity in your homes because you've got smart appliances that the clients need training on and understanding how to connect and what to do and what the features are?
I guess I'd tackle that in 2 ways. So to some extent, it's simplifying a few things. Because of the functionality of the appliances, it's it has the ability to notify the homeowner when maintenance needs to be done. I mean, simple things, for example. I mean, most of us probably have a fridge that has a water dispenser and there's a filter in there. So when your fridge can notify you, hey, it's time to replace the filter, I don't have to remember, when was the last time I replaced that, and what model number is filter is it, and where can I get it? Do I need to go to my local box store? Do I need to go online? Do I have to order it from the manufacturer? Those types of things are very beneficial. On the other side, if we're getting into smart features, there is a homeowner education component where if a homeowner is not aware of, for example, let's take smart cooking. If they're not aware of how that feature is functioning on the stove, they're just too difficult, fed up with it. I'm just not going to use it. But at the same time, a lot of times now we're seeing app-based maintenance or app-based control with these appliances, which you don't have to remember, okay, do I click this button on the display, or I just get on my phone and I say, this is what I'm trying to do, tap a couple screens, and it just runs itself. So
I would even take that a step further. On most major appliances now, they actually have videos on the screens. They take your iPhone screen, and that's actually the screen on the appliances, so it'll walk you through it. Hey, it'll ask you the questions. Do you want a sous vide cook? Yes, I do. Do you want this feature? Yes, I do. Going back to the maintenance piece, do you want to order, you can go to your refrigerator. Would you like to order this now? And they'll order it directly off the whichever website you want and automatically do it from your refrigerator. It's really kind of neat.
That's pretty slick. Speaking of refrigerators.
Speaking of the refrigerator, I used to have that refrigerator right there.
So it says that 85% of U.S. households now own at least one smart appliance. Are your clients now 100%?
I don't know that I'd go 100, but
Okay.
it is high. It is extremely high. And to be fair, there's even scenarios where it's probably higher, and maybe they're not just using the functionality because they're just not interested. I mean, we within our markets, obviously we see everything from, call it the tech guy, right? I want all the bells, I want all the whistles, and I want it to order my groceries for me, and they're going to be very involved with that. And on the other side, the other extreme would be, I just need a fridge to put my groceries in so the food doesn't go bad, and so we see kind of the full depth in what we do.
So are clients, actually asking for that feature, or is this something you're promoting, or is it a combination of both of those things?
A combination of both. It's with anything that we do within our company, you get buyers that may be fixated on one specific component of the home. It could be. We've had multiple meetings in the past couple of days about could be outdoor living, it could be connectivity in the home, Wi-Fi hotspots, stuff like that. But we do get buyers that are focused on kitchen, the appliances in the kitchen, how they're going to function, how are they going to make their life better. That's a very critical thing.
I'm sorry, you can finish it at that point, but this will lead into this one.
Yeah. I was going to say, from a manufacturer side, all of our appliances that come out today have some form of connectivity. And it's not just, hey, I have an app and I want to use the app, because just having an app isn't purposeful. When LG comes out with a purposeful app, it's got to do a couple of things. One, it's going to have that service capability, right? So we want to have a self-diagnostic capability so that when we have a problem, we can solve the problem in one service call. Then the second piece is, how do we make your life better? How can we make it easier to use our appliances, whether it's the ThinQ app, where you can download your recipes, throw the recipe into the wall oven without having to even touch the wall oven, and it'll automatically preheat or cook your appliances, or it's turning on your dishwasher, the AI control on your laundry. So in that space, LG always has a smart configuration or coming out with a smart appliance, but it's primarily to give ease of mind and to make your life easier in the appliance space so that it's not a chore to use appliances anymore.
Excuse me. I feel like it's been a long transition from connected appliances to smart appliances, right? And I think the differentiator is probably AI, or there's a big piece of that. So can you explain to me, I know that's on the slide here, how LG uses AI in their smart or connected appliances?
So I think that long transition is we came out with app-based stuff and nobody knew how to bring app-based to appliances, but everybody had to rush to get an app.
Yeah.
And so the only thing we can do with an app was, let me turn your appliance on.
Right.
For so long. Well, now AI, so we started with AI and now we have cameras inside like our wall oven. And now we can detect what you're cooking inside your wall oven. So everybody asks, will it cook for you? Well, yes, now it will truly cook for you. It will say, hey, I see you're cooking chicken. I see you're putting a chicken in there. Here's all the recipes we have for chicken. What kind of chicken would you like to cook? Or what kind of carrots would you like to cook? And then it'll tell you, please take out the carrots and we're going to preheat for X amount of time. Put it on this rack. And so it truly does cook for you. We also have the same thing in our laundry. Hey, I notice you're doing silks. I notice you're doing this. And then it also talks to the dryer and tells the dryer what you're doing so you don't have to set your laundry. So AI control is starting to, again, make your life easier. The cooktop talks to the hood to automatically turn on when it knows your cooktop's going. So your hood will automatically turn on so that you don't have to turn it on, and it'll turn off when you turn off the stove. So a lot of really cool technology is coming along.
So the promise of AI, right, is using data and just collecting data. So I imagine you get a lot of information from the appliances you've got connected and installed all over the world.
And continuously, yeah. So you'll continuously get new recipes. So that when that AI control, you may see there's only 10 recipes for that chicken a day. Yeah. But the next time you cook that chicken, there could be 25 recipes. And then the next time there could be, and you could save your favorite recipes and say, I only want to see these ones. And
when I buy a smart TV, every few months there might be a new streaming app or a new feature on that TV, and that software update allows me to have access to that feature. Does the same thing apply to your appliances? Are we upgrading our appliances like we upgrade our TVs now?
A lot of times, yeah. You don't have to even do it. It does it for you in the middle of the night as long as you're connected.
So do your buyers think that's awesome or terrifying?
That's going to vary a bit as well. You have that group that I don't want anything connected to anything. I don't want a Google Home or a HomeKit or an Alexa because it's always listening to me. And so, we have homeowners that fall into that category. Most homeowners are looking for the ability to make their life easier. It's really great when an appliance solves a problem the homeowner didn't know they had. That's a very big win for us. But yeah, ultimately, they want their life to be easier. It's interesting because it's such an important space within any home. But in some of the research we've done, only a third of home buyers are actually satisfied with their kitchen.
Oh.
So, and there's obviously a lot of factors that go into that, but appliances do come into play. And so the features that come with a lot of these smart appliances are focusing, to your point, on helping and assisting them and making their life easier. So we are seeing desire for those types of things. Of course, within the realm of affordability and everything that comes into play with that. But yeah, there is definitely a demand for these types of solutions, and that demand is only increasing.
So small appliances is on the list too. Sean, I'm not sure if small appliances really fall under your category necessarily.
No, it doesn't fall under what LG does, but it's something cool that I like to see personally. It's something that affects my personal life. As I want to get healthier, it's something I use every single day. And, you're always on your phone to see how can I get the best smoothie or the latest app. I use the Ninja all the time and get different recipes from that. And
so is this an opportunity in the home building world for small appliances, or is it something you sort of leave to a homeowner to buy their own product and stick it on the countertop and integrate themselves?
Yeah, so to some extent, small appliances become very personal. Yeah. One thing that's very critical for us from a design standpoint is ensuring that the homeowner has space for those appliances. One of the worst things that can happen is, if you invest in some of these small appliances, but there's nowhere for that appliance to sit, It doesn't get used. And, the mentality of, well, I can sort in my pantry and then I'm going to get it out when I need it. For an Instant Pot or an Instant Pot, that's probably acceptable. But for a NutriBullet or, a coffee maker, obviously, those kind of need to have, because they're used so frequently, we need to ensure that they have kind of dedicated space for that. Not necessarily that, hey, it's going to sit specifically here, but we need to account for the fact that, hey, on this countertop, I'm going to have some small appliances. I'm also going to have, even though we see all these pictures of all these beautiful kitchens, Pinterest, social media, whatever, marketing collateral, model homes, we do the same thing. The reality is we live in our kitchens. We spend, arguably 50% of our time at home revolves around the kitchen. So most kitchens, if we all honestly stop and think about our kitchen right now, dishes in the sink that are potentially overflowing. Somebody got the toaster out and hasn't put it away, or I've got nonstick pans that I can't put in the dishwasher, and so they're sitting over here until I can get to them. And I've got containers of flour or sugar or all of these things. So in realms of space for these items, it's not just simply saying, oh, here's some counter space and the homeowner is going to be able to use that to put their coffee maker or their air fryer or whatever, because it's going to get used all the time. It's trying to allocate space for, how is this actually lived in? How is this going to be used, so that the homeowner can have these types of small appliances that allow them to be functional within their space. So
What occurred to me when I was putting all this together is how much overlap there is when I was researching all these smart products. That there's, you've got an Instant Pot that can, maybe sous vide stuff and cook things and steam things. And then you've got this, air fryer that also has a broiler feature that's also in your oven. Maybe you can buy a hot tub outside that'll sous vide as well. I don't know. But all these things sort of cross platforms. I feel like there's an educational, almost, not as an opportunity, but almost an obligation to help your homeowners kind of sort through that stuff. Is that something that you think would be your responsibility or be part of your sales and marketing efforts, or are we just going to let this be the Wild West for a while and see where it shakes out?
I was going to say, we have some basic education. So we use inspiration galleries for most of our homeowners to come through, and there's the education level there is very rudimentary. Our teams do understand the function of the appliances. This if you upgrade to this level, your stove comes with these features. But the education is not to the level of, okay, to use that feature, you're going to go in and you're going to take these specific steps. We very much rely on materials, our manufacturers and suppliers, to do that kind of next level of education. But helping the homeowners understand what features are coming with their appliances is very incumbent upon us to communicate that correctly.
I think most of us have probably seen this or seen a commercial for this product. I think this is a really good example of where smart appliances and smart cooking should probably be going. I know we're just talking about cooking, but we're also talking about the kitchen in general. This is almost a do-it-for-me approach, where it's not just about the oven turning itself on, getting the temperature and shutting off when it's supposed to. It's about, I can order what I want. It comes prepared and ready to go and compartmentalized. I can scan the item. I can stick it in the oven. It knows exactly what to do with it. It tells me when it's ready. And presumably at the end of this process, I get exactly what I paid for and was advertised when I purchased that particular meal. Sean, you can probably tell me on your roadmap, is this coming to like a dishwasher, for example, where one of the things I hate about it is you've got to go under the sink and find those little dishwasher pods. And, if your hands are wet, they all end up sticking together, and then you got to grab one of them and try and stick it in the little compartment of the dishwasher that's also wet so it doesn't close right. Can I get a dishwasher that's always got detergent ready to go and can run for me while I'm out of the house because it knows it's full and I forgot to set it last night? Are we going there?
So they already have dishwashers that have that. So I know of Miele came out with the first one that has a dishwasher pod that it lasts about 30 days.
Okay.
It's a little pod that you put inside there, and it uses, the nice thing about it is it's smart. It senses how much dishes you have in there, and it'll only use the amount of dish soap that you need. So it senses the turbidity of the water, meaning how dirty the water is, to how much soap you need. So yeah, and they do it in laundry already today. We do it in laundry today with LG. So it is already there. The cool thing about Tovala or HelloFresh, a number of those sites is you don't have to do dishes anymore because it comes in it comes in a microwave safe plate, and appliances today is it the Wild West. It's so funny. Every single day, your toaster oven now does more things, or Instapot does more things than it ever did. And so it is kind of the Wild West, because what used to just be a toaster oven is now a convection, a convection oven, is now a air fryer, is now a souped up toaster, is everything does so much more than what it used to do. Your Instapot is not just a rice cooker anymore. It's now a crock pot. It just everything every single day does so much more. And now you can use, it's meant to like take 15 different cooking devices down to one.
Right.
Well, unfortunately, you still own 15 cooking devices.
Yeah.
And so it's crazy where everything's going. And so it is a little bit of the Wild West.
Are you seeing more screens in kitchens now? I feel like between cooking channels and YouTube videos and TikToks and all those things, is this important inside the kitchens that you're designing?
I don't know. We don't necessarily design specific to screens. It would be more about the space. I mean, everything from, Amazon has the Echo Show, for example, that has a screen built in. Again, it's about ensuring that there's space for that item, that it can be plugged in, that we have a general idea of where it's going to be plugged in and how it's going to be utilized. So definitely bringing technology into the kitchen to, again, what's on the screen there, YouTube tutorials, Zoom classes, Zoom cooking classes. Those are a reality of what we're seeing. And so allocating for the homeowner using the space that way is very critical for us.
I'd say from a manufacturing side of point, we're actually getting away from that. I think we had a big trend where you had the refrigerator that had a TV in it. You saw the microwave right there that has a TV on it. We're actually getting away from that. People are now wanting their appliances to blend in with their kitchen, especially when you become, you start stepping up your appliances. You don't want to see them anymore. Right. You're seeing the microwaves get smaller. So we're stepping away from the manufacturing side of it, from producing stuff that's like that. Will you still have one or two of those? Yes, we're going to have a microwave that has a TV for those people that want it. But the refrigerators, we're not making those anymore that have the TV in it. So I think you're seeing that phase kind of go by the wayside, and not spending the money on that, because you have your Alexa homes, you have your TVs that can pop down. So I see that trend kind of stepping back, where it was, everybody wanted that, hey, that's cool. And then they realized, hey, we don't use that feature anymore.
Right.
It's actually not what we see, because kitchens are wide open, and now you have your huge TV that you could see on the wall. So you don't need the TV on your microwave anymore, or your refrigerator.
I stumbled on this thing called Fresco, and Fresco is an app development company that's putting together small appliances, major appliances, recipe apps, and bringing it together for a lot of the major manufacturers. And what was exciting to me about this, and I don't know much more than what I read on their website and a couple of reviews, is that they're working on allowing an open source development group for appliance manufacturers, so that if you've got brand X small appliance and brand Y major appliance, and they're both part of that cooking process, now you can not just rely on having to buy all of LG products. Maybe LG doesn't make that one product that you need for the countertop. But now you can sort of unify all those products in the process and have that follow this through, including things like timers and recipes, and be able to control those appliances and monitor those timers and monitor the temperature while you're doing it. This seems like it's where it's going, right?
Yeah. Already today, so you have that technology with the IoTs, that where the TV can now be your timer, that can now talk to your refrigerator, that can now talk to your Echo Show. And so now you're bringing in the web that can bring your recipes to your TV, so that is really cool technology to have one company that can kind of bring that side of it, the cooking side of it, all together to actually talk to all the appliances that can say, hey, small cooking device I haven't seen any of that until you brought that up. And I think that is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think it gives me the impression that this is now real and viable and not just a gadget. I think the last time I really spoke about or thought about smart appliances or connected appliances, I didn't see the value in understanding why I could turn on my oven from my phone, right? Yep. If I'm on my way home, Mike, I think you and I talked about this.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell that story? You do it better than I do.
So I actually own a stove that I can start remotely. And I'm not, to be honest, I don't know if this brand is available nationwide, but picking up like a Papa Murphy's pizza, right? I can pick it up, hop on my phone, sitting in the car, tell my oven to turn on, and heat up to whatever temperature the instructions tell me. When I get home, it's ready to go. Get it in the oven, 15, 20 minutes later, dinner's done, ready, and it's super convenient. I mean, one of the worst things about being adult is the fact that you have to figure out for the rest of your life what's for dinner, right? This type of technology helps out so much. And what's interesting is that, we're talking about all these appliances that can do all 15 things. But what's really nice for a homeowner is that we're all at different stages in our life. And when the appliance can function on multiple levels, depending on those stages, it becomes very useful. So for example, in my home, it's me and my wife, and I have a daughter getting ready to graduate high school. So in the next foreseeable future, it'll just be me and my wife. The odds of us turning on our range are going to go down drastically. Right. But at the same time, we do have a toaster that's an air fryer, that's a convection oven. Now, when it's just the two of us, because of, smaller number count, the odds of using that for that day-to-day meal preparation go up drastically. So having appliances that have the technology to adapt to various needs, as opposed to, I used to have a toaster, and then I had to have, my air fryer was separate, and then I had a crock pot and a rice cooker and all these various things, where I can condense them into single appliances now. And again, now I have more space, because I don't have all these appliances sitting all over the place. The technology is making life easier. Mm-hmm. We're just at a point where we have to be aware of it and how to use it, and figure out how it can benefit each of us on an individual level. Because, for example, LG is going to make technology available, but how I use that technology would be different than how my neighbor uses the technology, for example. But it's very interesting what's happening with these types of things right now.
Well, it kind of leads us into this next slide. But planning and shopping and harvesting was on this list too. But the planning portion of it, what I stumbled on this, that's pretty cool. You mentioned it, right? The what's for dinner conversation.
Yep. Being
able to not just think about it, but store your favorites, right? So we made something last night and it was great. Probably not going to make it again for a while, because you don't want to repeat things over and over again. But a month from now, I might be like, what do you want to do for dinner tonight? And we can look at that list of 7 things we checked off in the last 6 months that we really enjoyed.
Yep.
And not have to work from memory or walk down the aisle in the grocery store and figure out what it is we want to do with whatever thing we picked out that day. I think it's pretty powerful. And it's one of those features that you probably wouldn't think about until you have this application.
Yeah.
Are you seeing that being a driving factor for connected appliances, or is this just still a dream?
Not just connected appliances, but just even your grocery store now, right? You don't even go shopping anymore. You do your shopping on the couch, and then you say, okay, I'm going to pick it up this day, and now you have your favorites that you go ahead and say, okay, I'm going to pick up the same things. My wife never goes to the grocery store anymore. I'm going to swing by and pick them up, or I'm going to have them delivered. Throughout life, it's just, how do you make it all easier? If you can now get it to where it's from your appliances or from one hub. You talked about your Google, your Echo. You can order everything from your Echo and it's crazy. You can make your grocery list from your hub in your house, and it just amazes me where technology has come. And if you are that technical person, we're not. I don't think we utilize it as much as we probably could, but you can truly do everything from that hub and make your life totally simple. Hey, I need milk, add it to the grocery list. Hey, go ahead and send our grocery list, have it delivered on Tuesday, and you don't ever have to ever think about it again. How cool would that be?
So one of the things I ran into in this, I think Mike, you and I talked about this the first time we spoke about it, is using AI for that purpose. And one of the things I played with was ChatGPT. And you can tell it, I want a meal plan for 4 people for 7 days. I've got a budget of $222. And I like these things and I don't like these things. And it'll create not just a menu list for you, but it'll create a shopping list for you for exactly what you need to purchase. And I didn't try it, but I presume you can probably push that to a shopping app and have all those items delivered straight to you.
That's crazy.
If we can do that inside the LG app and have the oven cook it at the same time, that's pretty powerful stuff. It's a little Jetsons-like, but I kind of dig that idea. I mean, and that sort of lends itself to this guided cooking slide, where now it's, instead of you having to think about what you need to do and look up recipes and remember, where was that TikTok video about how to make, spare ribs that night? You can find it and store it in the app and be able to pull that up and have it not just show you the recipe, but tell you step by step what to do.
The ThinQ app, you can do a lot of that. You can scan your app, and you could it does connect to a couple of shopping apps, but it's still not totally developed to that point.
Yeah.
But what's really cool is you can scan those HelloFresh or that Tovala app, and it'll send it to the wall oven or to the range and automatically cook it, and ding when it's preheated for you to put it in, so you don't ever have to think about it. You could save your favorite recipes to it, so you can say, hey, I want lasagna tonight. Press the button, and it'll tell you when it's ready for you to put the frozen lasagna in there, or whatever, fresh lasagna, whatever you're cooking. So there's a lot of cool features like that you can put in there.
So tell me about this. One of the problems of building shopping lists is, if you're me, you forget what you already have, and you buy the same thing 3 times, you end up throwing out 2 of the 3, right? So the camera in the refrigerator seems like a nice idea. Is that being used? Was that a cool gimmick? How's that working?
I think it's a combination of both. I think everybody some people like it. Some people think it's a gimmick. So we have it in our refrigerator, and it's come in handy a couple of times. Like, hey, do I still have milk? And we can go on there, and I could go on my phone right now and look to see if I have milk. It's come in handy a couple of times, but I don't utilize it as much as I should. But it's cool to have. Some of the things that's coming up is we're also going to add weight to some of that, so you can tell if you want to reorder milk in the door. Hey, it's time to reorder milk, and so it'll talk to you in the hub where you can store things, and it'll automatically add it to grocery lists and stuff like that. But you'll have to train it to do that sort of stuff. So. That AI technology is coming through, and so it's going to continually add to what you can train it to do, if you want to do that. But cameras inside of there. Again, it's as much technology as you want it to do. Unfortunately, we don't use it to its capabilities, and that's a us problem, not a camera problem.
Yeah. So, but expiration date tracking would be wonderful.
That'd be awesome.
Is that a real feature now, or is that a dream feature?
It's as long as you put it in, right? So, or you would have to have the camera shining on it right now. Okay. But yes, you can put it in. You can scan it in when you order it. Unfortunately, it's not something that you have. It's something that you have to tell it what to do. The camera won't just know.
Well, I can't even see it, so I'm not sure the camera can. But so food prep, smart scales, I think are pretty powerful. This one that I threw the example up on the screen actually will not just weigh out your food, but help you portion it out, count your calories for you, sort of tell you about whether you are or not on track for your nutritional goals for the day, week, month, what have you. Smart cutting boards, did you look into any of those? I did that with some research for this event, and I'm not impressed with the smart cutting board. Have you seen those?
I haven't yet.
It's just a cutting board with a screen on it, a waterproof screen, but it tells you how to cut things and how to prep things, and I'm not sure I necessarily need that device, but it was interesting.
Does it also have a scale on it too? That'd be cool if it had
Yeah.
a scale as well as a.
But it just kind of shows you how ubiquitous connected appliances are becoming, that these are all sort of talking to one another. I didn't see anything about the scale integrating with other appliances, but it makes sense that it probably would, right? That now that recipe is going to tell you when you've achieved whatever amount of whatever you need on that cutting board, and you're ready to go. Tell me a little bit about the environment that LG works in, because I think that's kind of important to this conversation too.
So we kind of touched on the ThinQ. So ThinQ is our app, and our app-based stuff for all of our appliances are connected to it. So you have the ThinQ recipe app, and that's already downloaded recipes. You can put all your favorites in there. Not only can you download all your favorites, but it pulls all the recipes from the web-based system, and you could take those recipes and, like I said, you can throw them to your oven, and it'll automatically be programmed. So it'll preheat for you. It'll tell you when it's done. It'll turn off the range for you as well. You could also control and monitor your cooking device, your dishwasher, your laundry from there. One of the really cool things is you could scan to cook. So if you have a barcode on your whatever you're cooking, you can scan that barcode, and it'll pull up what the recipe is, and you could throw that to the oven as well. HelloFresh, you'll get a recipe card, and your recipe card will automatically pull up the recipe on there from that scan barcode. So those are really cool features. One of the big things that we see, so we try to track how ThinQ works and how people are using ThinQ. And what we're seeing is a lot of people are using it as a remote control, and they set their own oven preferences. So they'll look at it and they'll say, okay, these are the oven, the best settings I want, whether it's, it's not only cooking, it's the modes of cooking, whether it's steam assist, whether it's cooking with induction. So they use that, and then the user manual is the other thing that nobody wants to use the pull out the book anymore. So they use the user manual. So all of that cool stuff is on your phone now.
Here's where we've been building up to, and we've already covered a lot of these things, but we're actually going to get to the point where we cook now. So we've harvested and purchased and prepped and cut, and now we've got to cook these things. I was looking for some examples of like an actual app in process. So I went back to the Fresco. This is pretty cool. I mean, once you've selected what you want, it sort of guides you through the process. Step by step. I'm horrible at following recipes because I always forget where I am in the list of things I have to do.
Yeah.
And this way you sort of hit the next step and the next step and the next step, and it takes you through that. And I presume if you've got to do things consecutively, that's where I really screw things up, right? When you've got to do two things at one time, and if you forget this one, it's not ready at the end. And that was the other thing that I stumbled on too in this process, is that they've sort of worked on, and I'm not sure if it's perfect or perfected yet, but how do I prep different parts of the meal at the same time? How do I get these appliances going so that when everything's finished, it finishes at the same time, so everything's ready at once? And this sort of guides you through that process. And it allows you to preset these things. So if you've had success, if there's certain things you like or a certain way you like to do things, you can customize and personalize your app, and it still connects to your appliance to get somewhere you want to go. And you can sort them by whatever protein you're using and whatever other ingredients are part of that process. And the monitoring piece tells you how far along you are, how much time's left before dinner's ready, that type of thing. It would be really great if you could tell my kid when dinner's ready too, and yell up the stairs. I wonder if that's a feature.
I think that is pretty cool, because you think about it, you have your rice cooker over here and you're cooking your rice, but you have your protein over here, and you want to know when your chicken's done and your rice is done. So that is pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the great things about all of this, right? I mean, if we were all to take inventory of our daily lives, right? We're all busy, and if we're not busy, then maybe our kids are busy, and we, that innately makes us busy, right? All of this functionality and all these features is about making our life easier. It's about convenience. It's about saving time. And what's really ingrained in that is when it does those things, it allows us to free up our time to do those other things. To if you have I have a daughter that's in choir, and so when she has concerts, it's very got to get home, got to get dinner ready because she has to be at this location at this time because the performance starts at this time. And having stuff like this of, hey, I know what I'm going to make for dinner. I can send all the information to my appliances. It's going to take care of most everything for me. Sure, there's, I still got to get things out from the fridge and put it in there and compile it. But I know once it's in there, it's going to take care of itself. And at this time, it's going to be done, and we're going to be where we need to be on time. So the technology here is really, it's come a long way from you use the term connected appliances, and I actually like that differentiation. There was connected appliances, and now we really do have smart appliances that take a lot of the thinking out of what we need to do in providing guidance and providing the timing and everything else. So really beneficial.
I actually think I'd cook a meal instead of just pizza now for fire night.
This was part of the conversation too. I know that LG doesn't make grills. Actually, I don't know that. I assume they don't make grills.
We don't make outdoor products.
I have the little meter thermometer that attaches to my phone, so I can see when things are ready outside. I think this is, again, another example of we need a third-party app like Fresco or something along those lines to tell us when all the various parts of the meals are ready to go or not ready to go, or when to start things and what temperature to set them to. So I think we're starting to see the ecosystem evolve. That's not just one manufacturer's appliances, because you can't make everything.
Correct.
I mean, you could. you probably want to, but you're not currently doing them. This is another example of a connected device. Is a warming tour part of an LG? But again, it's coordinating things, keeping them warm so everything's ready at the same time. It tells you when to put it in, what temperature to set it to not overdo it, overcook it, dry it out, whatever the situation might be. And so serving becomes a big part of that process. So I would love to know when I got to get started to have dinner at a certain time, right? Because that's sort of the bane of my existence right now, I think. And then this, I have mixed feelings about this. I don't like taking pictures of my food, but a lot of people do. So are you seeing this as a trend, as something that people are asking for in kitchens, as a proper lighting so they can TikTok in the kitchen while they're cooking?
Not particularly. I mean, we know what's happening, but most of it's they've got their phones or their devices that they're making the videos on. Lighting's a whole separate conversation, but we've had conversations in this event about lighting. So like task lighting is very important in our kitchens. So lighting does come into play, but yeah, we're not seeing anything like, hey, we need this particular setup for this to happen.
Yeah.
In these types of scenarios, most of these individuals have the materials they need to make their videos and do that correctly. So
I'm chuckling up here because with our camera and our oven, I laugh because we have an on-hand chef for our signature kitchen line in our education centers, and he touts this feature that once you cook anything in that oven, you can then go back and it can make a 60-second clip, a 30-second clip, and a 15-second clip of whatever you're cooking. And it doesn't matter if you're using the AI feature or not. It automatically will do it so that you can show the cooking phases of it. And that's funny. And then you put this up here that he does it all the time and sends it out to us. Hey, check out the chicken I just cooked. And so it's a thing.
There was a time when, you had 100 cable channels and everybody said, how do you have all this time to watch all this stuff? And a million channels and nothing to watch on TV. I'm just kind of trying to do some math in my head. About 40% of people with smart appliances are posting weekly. How many cooking videos are out there to go along with your gym videos and your shopping videos? It's mind-boggling that this is actually a thing. Something's good.
That being said, when you go to a good meal, you do take a picture of what they brought you on your plate, and you share it. So I see it.
And then clean up. I struggled with things other than dishwashers. I wish you guys could invent a sink that would wash the dishes for me instead of the dishwasher. Are there any innovations coming in that?
I think the biggest thing to know is that do not clean your dishes. Wipe them off and throw them in the dishwasher. The soap does the work for you. And I think everybody feels like they have to turn on the sink and completely, get everything off. Don't. Just take off the big pieces and put them in the dishwasher. Let the soap and the dishes do the work. That's what the dish soap is there for. Your actual dishwasher actually works better when there's dirt on them. So let the dishwasher do what the dishwasher is supposed to do. Unless you got a really cheap dishwasher, then yes, go ahead and wash your dishes. But
We just gave me a reason to be lazy. Thank you.
What's interesting about dishwashers though, and this is ties into the advancements in the technology side, is that, you know, you joke around washing your dishes beforehand. Yeah, don't do that. But the other side of it is, and I'm sure we were all raised this way, you can't run the dishwasher till it's full. That's not true.
that's not true.
Like, you can run it. So if you're washing dishes by hand, like most dishwashers these days are efficient enough that they'll do a whole load on like 2.5 gallons of water.
Yep.
For reference, your kitchen faucet distributes 2.5 gallons of water every minute that it's on. So if you're hand washing dishes, there's a good chance you're using more water than you are if you just use the dishwasher that has these smart capabilities in it. So arguably, even if it's half full, you're still saving water running it that way than doing dishes in your sink.
And most dishwashers have a half load wash.
Yeah.
It may be called upper rack only wash, or it may be called it may be called glass wash. Just look at your manual, but it's called an upper rack wash. They have a half wash available. Most dishwashers have something like that, so it's available.
I never thought one of the best things I'd learn at Tech Home is how to use my dishwasher.
But you have to, and you can say this about the same for the stoves or the refrigerator. The technology is advanced enough. Trust what it's telling you. I'm sure it's in most of our minds. You know, this is a perfect example, right? Like, I was raised, don't run the dishwasher till it's full. Mom and dad would get mad. You have to run a full load. The technology is different now. It's not what we potentially grew up with. Let the technology work for you. You've invested in the product. It's been developed and tested, and these companies stand behind their products. Trust that it's going to do what it says it's going to do.
And then the last piece of the sort of ecosystem or lifestyle life cycle, I should say, of smart cooking is waste disposal and recycling. I'm not a big composter, but now there's smart composters out there. Is this a trend you're seeing too?
We're not seeing particular requests for it, but in conversations that I've had just across the industry, especially in the multifamily space, this is becoming a very big deal. Not necessarily this particular composter, right? But just the concept of food waste in general. Some of the conversations I've had is in some large cities, if you're going to build a multifamily building, you have to have a food waste solution that is not throwing food waste in the trash to throw in the bin. Like, there's even services where you put all your food scraps in a container that's sealed and airtight and everything, and then somewhere in the building there's, call it a locker, where you take your full container and you leave that one and you get an empty one. And when we see things in multifamily over time, we know it's going to start to spread out because people are going to become used to that.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that looks like now for single family in terms of what we do, but I suspect it's coming.
Fascinating. So we've already touched on some of this, and I apologize for the slide getting compressed here a little bit, but is there a generational or even a gender difference in who's adopting these technologies and who's asking for them versus who's not?
I definitely say that the millennials and the younger generation they grew up with the iPhone, they grew up with the technology, and they're actually, when we look at who's buying our products, they know that LG had a cell phone. They know of our TVs. They're the ones that are asking for our products. When you look at SKS, our signature kitchen line, we actually cater to what's called a technicurian. It's a someone who likes technology and likes to cook. So, that line competes against Wolf Sub-Zero, Thermador, but it brings a lot of technology to the cooking platform. And so those guys are comfortable with technology. And so, yes, we definitely see that younger generation. But that being said, now you're seeing some of the older population adapt to it. But yes, it's definitely a more comfortability.
Yeah, definitely. They're kind of the same thing. Younger generation, they grew up with that technology. Gen X is kind of in the middle of that, where that technology started to come out about the time, high school, early college, and so they're more comfortable with it. But we are starting to see adoption in kind of the older generation, mostly because it makes their life convenient. And it made, in that statement, not specific to cooking, but in general, making their life easier as they age in place and go through those types of things.
And Sean, you mentioned this too, in terms of adoption and trends, that the trend is for cooler looking appliances, right?
Yeah, adapting into what your atmosphere is, right? So hiding the appliances or standing way out, right? Putting lights in it. But that's a cool generational thing, right? So that younger generation likes this. So what you're seeing right here is Samsung came out with this thing called Bespoke, and it's lights on a refrigerator. So the refrigerator each panel can be a different color light. It can be pink, it can be blue, and it looks like a dance studio if you want it to look like a dance studio. And so just different cool little cool little things that can come out. Or it can just be subtle and white and mask in, or panels. And so you're seeing that a lot, just a more designer trend or a complete outrageous.
Yeah. So that sort of lends itself to this conversation, Mike, which is, are you changing the way you design kitchens because appliances are smart, or is it the same old kitchen layout it's always been?
In terms of space for the major appliances, taking a very similar approach. The top thing there, more power outlets and network coverage, that's becoming more of a requirement. So in some of our communities, we're including standard USB outlets in the kitchen. Usually in the island is a common place, because we generally find, homeowners, they'll, whether they're have something set up as they're prepping food, or maybe it's the charging station. But yeah, having enough power outlets for everything, especially charging stations for, phones, tablets, those types of things. We're definitely seeing more and more in that area. But yeah, as far as the major appliances, kind of we're seeing same general things. I mean, if we've got, and some of it's basic design, if we've got a kitchen in the island, we want the island centered on the stove behind it, and the hood vent feature, and we want that all to line up and look correct.
Has color changed? Because now you can match appliances to cabinet colors and things. Is that becoming a trend you're seeing?
So color is becoming more of a trend. We don't necessarily, with what we don't necessarily do, for example, color matched cabinet faces on appliances. But we do get a lot of, looking at how does the look of this appliance feel against the overall kitchen look.
Gotcha. And then here's the question that everybody came here to get answered, which is using smart cooking to sell houses. So how am I going to take this information that we talked about today and these products that you're producing and sell more homes? What is this something that you're seeing or you're thinking is going to be something that gives you the ability to improve your marketing efforts, to bring in more people, to attract more attention to your projects, and to sell more homes?
That is an interesting question. I definitely see a scenario where these types of features could be a market differentiator to allow you to sell more homes. Obviously, that would have to be handled correctly and rolled out correctly and marketed correctly. I'm not sure what that would look like from that aspect, but from a design standpoint and a consumer functioning standpoint, it is definitely a feature that could be touted.
I think from a manufacturing standpoint, we've got to figure out how we can help give you guys the tools to be able to upsell this. And talking with John yesterday, he introduced me to the ECI Solutions Group, and they kind of created this backroom online design center. We have a lot of assets that can complement that design center. But what they don't have is like where you can touch and say, okay, here's steam cooking. We have the 9-second video that can go on there while the homeowner's at home. And then what would be cool is if they can click that 9-second video while they're at home, see it, say, oh, I've got to have that. Well, at the same time, it uploads the price on it and say, oh, for $9 more a month, I can get this. Well, that's your upsell opportunity. So how do we relate what they're doing with what we have and kind of create this design? And so there's a lot there that I think on the backside that we can all partner together and figure out how do we leverage that. on behalf, utilizing you guys as the builders to help us get into that space a little bit more. Mike and I were talking earlier. Today, it's a little antiquated. We build packages for you guys, good, better, best. And it's typically, here's the good, here's the better. It's either a look difference with a couple of features, and we'll give you those features, right? Mm-hmm. And then here's the better, and it's a more commercial look with a few more features. And it's kind of a brochure, or if you have a studio, you can see it. But that's about it. And we train you guys how to sell up on it. But more people are doing their research at home. And if you guys have that in-search back room, showroom, online to showroom, how do we connect with that? Because I had no clue that existed. And so that's something that's exactly what you're talking about here. How do we tap into that? And we need you guys' help to do that.
This was one of the first things that popped into my mind when I was thinking about promoting that feature in a home, which is endorsements from celebrity chefs.
We do this a lot. You see Kohler there. We actually did quite a few food and wines for SKS as well. We have our own chefs as well in Napa Valley, but there's a lot more that we can do.
This definitely feels like an opportunity to demonstrate the features and capabilities of a smart connected kitchen with smart appliances induces smart cooking. So I think this is one of probably dozens and dozens of ideas that everyone could come up with to do a better job of promoting these products and help to sell more homes. I appreciate the efforts today. Thank you for joining us. Here's everybody's information in case you want to reach out after the session. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.